Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of High Energy Girl. And today we have an amazing guest. Her name is Emily Lauren Dick, and she is a body image expert and activist who is committed to making girls feel comfortable in their own skin. Her book, Body Positive, A Guide to Loving Your Body, is the #1 resource for adult women who desire to redefine and understand true beauty. This book is absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait for you to meet Emily. Hey everyone, welcome to High Energy Girl, a podcast helping women to age stronger because it is never too late to get fit, be strong, and feel sexy. I'm your host, Tracy Gluhige, health coach and personal trainer and founder of highenergygirl.com. Each week, we will either have a guest interview, which will provide you encouragement or an actionable tip to help you age stronger, or I will do a solo episode. Please also join our awesome Facebook group called High Energy Girls, and I'm looking forward to see you on the inside of that group and hope you enjoy today's show. Create Whole Body Wellness, a powerful new advancement in energy medicine. Increase your energy, empower your life. I am super excited to announce that I am now a bioenergetics practitioner. And many people are like, well, what is bioenergetics? So imagine that our body is controlled by our energy field, and these fields get distortions and blockages, which create physical and emotional symptoms. So how do we get energy blockages? From stress, toxins, EMFs, emotional traumas, physical scars, and physical traumas. All you need to do is decode the human body field to get to the root cause and restore your energy for life. For more information, head on over to the blog at highenergygirl.com/bioenergetics with an X. That's BIOENERGETIX, and heal your energy for life. Hey, Emily, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm super excited to speak with you today. So for the listeners that don't know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So my name is Emily Lauren Dick, and I'm the author of Body Positive, A Guide to Loving Your Body.
It is such a great book. So tell us a little bit about your background. What brought you to the point of writing that amazing book?
Absolutely. So I guess like any other young woman, I have suffered through negative body image my whole life until I went to university and studied Women Studies and Sociology and really discovered the history and the reasons behind why we have body image issues. And it led me down the path of wanting to really share this information with everyone, make it accessible, especially to young girls, because they are the people that need it the most.
Absolutely. As a former eating disorder sufferer and all that, I totally agree, because my whole battle actually started in college. So what was your biggest takeaway with the whole women's studies movement and learning about that?
So for me, it was really understanding the male gaze. And I had always felt growing up that I was being watched. And it was sort of this weird feeling that we get, like we're being judged constantly. We feel like we're on display. And when I realized that there was actually like a theory behind these feelings and that it plays into the patriarchal sort of systems that we have at play in our society, it really explained something for me. It really empowered me to dig in a little bit more and really understand, where body image comes from.
Yeah. So basically it's historical, it sounds like. But back in the day, the women were more curvy. And so, like, was it, how did that all transpire?
It has to, like, our bodies have gone through trends as women, but I think the fact that remains the same is that our bodies have been objectified and sexualized for so long. It's been a way of controlling women, our access to certain things, our ability to take on certain jobs, and all of that really ties in to these things. Then you bring the beauty and diet industry, and they realize that female insecurity is profitable. So then that has continued the cycle. In fact, it's probably made it so much worse. And really these systems are in place because people are profiting from it.
Yeah, and I was reading in your book about all these girls who are like, well, I have to be super skinny and I need a flat tummy and I like to feel my hip bones and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's a thing.
It's shocking. And I'm really thankful that my publisher allowed me to sort of keep some of those interview excerpts in the book because I wanted to show that, there are some dark places we can go as women in the way we think about our bodies. And it's really important to address those things so that people don't feel so alone in those thoughts. I think that's one of the biggest issues is we're so segregated in terms of thinking that we're the only ones who suffer because that's the way the system is set up so that we don't dare show our realness to anyone because that would be really horrible if people figured out we were human, right? And it keeps us separated and it keeps us apart from getting that support from each other.
Ah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And don't you think most people suffer in silence?
Absolutely. And it's really important to really, get out there, whether it's talking to a friend or using social media as a positive tool. It's really important to speak to our experiences because it's so calming to be able to share those experiences and feel heard.
Yeah. So how did you change those? So you had this whole, like, I want to hear about your I'm using these wrong words, but like your transformation mentally or emotionally, because I mean, reading a book is one thing, learning about stuff, but applying it is completely different.
Absolutely. So it's taken years and it's not like I'm exempt from having body image issues. I just can understand when I'm triggered by them and what to do. And sometimes it's, taking a little bit more time for self-care. Sometimes it's, feeding myself, more water or, resting my body, those things. It's listening to what my body is actually saying. Then there's more the education aspect, which is like I'm just constantly taking it all in, learning, absorbing all the research out there, and really empowering myself to understand the reasons why so that I feel comfortable challenging the systems at place. And, when I have a bad body image moment, I no longer think, it's my fault. I think who is benefiting from this negative thought that I'm having about myself? And I think just being so ingrained in body positivity and really immersing myself and consciously curating my social media feed and making, taking those steps to work towards body positivity is what has put me in the place I'm in. It's a constant ongoing thing. There's no quick fix. But I think the more we immerse ourselves in this culture, the better we're going to feel about our bodies.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's like my clients come to me because they want to lose weight. And
Yes.
I said, I always say this. I say, I tricked you. You wanted to come to me to lose weight, but I want you to gain health.
Yes. Yeah.
It's about aging because I'm 55. So my audience like are older. And I'm like, I want you to age stronger and healthier instead of sicker and weaker like most others. So they come because they want to lose weight, but I like try to flip it on them and say, let's
Yeah.
talk about just gaining health.
Absolutely. You have to come at it from a positive place if you're going to change something about your lifestyle. And I mean, most of the time we are so when we go on diets, there's so many things that are problematic about doing so. We get more obsessive about food and we actually can overeat and all these things. So we need to bring ourselves back to that intuitive eating, intuitive fitness, and listening to our body and what it needs. And if that is movement within our certain abilities, or whether that's nourishing our bodies with the foods that we want and crave, then it's a part of the overall healthy experience.
Absolutely. And it's like trying to teach people to look at food as creating healthy cells rather than just feeding your tummy. It's like you got to really understand how the body works so you can benefit it instead of depriving it.
Exactly. And I think that's the same way about the way we view fatness. Like we often think, oh, fat is unhealthy, but fat is actually a really important part of our bodies. It gives us energy, it protects our organs. So we really have to redefine these things and dismantle the negative connotations that are wrapped around these things and change the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how you said that. Change the conversation. One of my son's teachers, he's now 27. She reminded me recently. She says, "I'll never forget what you said. You said, I'll never be the skinny girl, so I'm going to be the strong and healthy girl instead." And I was like, "That's
Exactly.
cool. I'm glad that made an impact." So
Yeah, absolutely.
so what do you tell, like, what are some of the things that people can start doing sooner rather than later?
I think you have to really think about all of the non-physical qualities that you have first and foremost. Take the conversation away from just being around the body, and think about the things that make us so great. We're smart, like you said, strong, kind. Those are things that, make us who we are that have nothing to do with our appearance. I think the other thing too is really feeling gratitude for the things that we do have and recognizing, wow, my body allows me to experience my life. It allows me to make memories and really repairing that relationship that you have with your body. And then a big part of it is really surrounding yourself with positive influences. Stop following the accounts that make you feel insecure, like you have to measure up to a certain standard, and really just take care of yourself. And whatever that looks like to you, for some, it's going for a run. For other people, it's sitting in front of the couch and just relaxing at night. For everyone, it's different. So you really have to take a step back and listen to what your body is saying.
Mm-hmm. I wrote a book, and the catchphrase, or the subtitle, I should say, is the last line is loving yourself to health, because I believe that if we crowd out all of the junk in our life, whether it's extraneous or, but all the stuff that leads us to make choices that might be counterproductive to our end goal, okay? But just crowd it out by adding in so much good things, so many healthy practices. It sounds like that's what you're saying.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people forget that health has a lot to do with what's up here in your mind, right? That plays such a large role. And if you are mentally happy and healthy, then it will shine through the rest of you, because that's where it all starts.
Absolutely. So start talking about gratitude. That's one of my favorite things. So what do you recommend for a gratitude practice?
I think journaling all your positive accomplishments on a piece of paper. And I like to say, go back and look at them. I did an activity back when I was in high school, and I still remember it to this day. I actually have the little paper bag that we put these things in, and we talked about all the things that were positive about who we are. And we went around the room and we actually wrote down things for other people as well. So sometimes it's nice to see those and remind yourself of all the things that are great about who you are when you're in a good state of mind. So I think just really being thankful for the body you have, the opportunities you've had, and what your body allows you to do is so important to that health.
Absolutely. Now, do you like fitness?
I do. I'm a hockey player, so I'm big into sports.
No way. You play hockey?
I do.
Like on the snow, like in the snow?
On the ice, yeah.
On ice, yeah,
on
that's
the
what I
ice.
meant.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. How long have you been doing that?
Oh, for like 20 plus years. I've been playing since I was like 8 or 9, probably 25 plus years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so badass. Do you guys
Yeah.
fight on the ice? Like I've seen the Sharks. I live near San Jose Sharks,
Yep. Sometimes it happens. in women's hockey, it's a little bit different than men's hockey. We're not allowed to hit, but I've played in a lot of leagues where I play with men as well, so I'm sort of used to playing both. But yeah, it's definitely a very physical sport, and it's very aggressive, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to get my exercise in.
Yeah, because you're playing at the same time, you know?
Exactly. And that's one of the things, like, when I would do things as a teenager, I would exercise to lose weight, whereas when I'm playing sports, I don't feel like I'm doing it to look a certain way. So it's really more about the overall body feel good experience.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I always say, and it goes to what you say, exercising to lose weight. To me, it's counterproductive. I mean, have you ever known anybody who said, "Oh, I'm going to do a marathon so I can lose 10 pounds," and they end up gaining
Yes,
weight?
yes, exactly. Yeah, you have to enjoy what you're doing, the way you move your body. And I mean, it's going to look different for everyone. Some people like weightlifting, some people like just taking walks, and we all have different abilities. So not all of our bodies are built to, do mainstream able-bodied exercises.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because you know how you do those 23andMe tests?
Yes.
Well, my test came back, I kid you not, because for years I was trying to be skinny like my best friends for years.
Yeah.
And my 23andMe test said I was built like a power lifter.
There you go.
Like, no wonder.
Well, that makes sense, right? And all our bodies are so unique and so different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. So let's talk. Is your book out on the shelves?
It is. It is. It's available anywhere you can purchase books. Um, and Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all those fun places. And you can also find all the links at happydaughter.com as well.
And how did you decide to take on this project? How long ago did you start working on it?
It was a while ago, actually. I think the writing the book part was actually not too bad. It was more getting women to be willing to participate and be photographed for the book that was the biggest challenge. And I was never, it took years to feel comfortable with what I was putting out there because I really wanted everyone to see someone that reminded them of themselves in the book. So I kept holding off until I really found, a really good group of diverse women to be represented in the book.
Now, are these all people from your area? You're in Canada, right?
I am in Canada. They are from everywhere. I had a woman who actually flew in from Texas to be photographed. Um, but most I would say are somewhat local within a few hours of where I am, but definitely had a few out of town people who made the trip to come and be photographed for the book because they heard about what I was doing and what I was trying to accomplish.
Wow. Now, were you just inspired to do this? Like, how did you come up with this idea? Oh my gosh, I'm going to write this book. Like, I would love to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always wanted a magazine that had real women in it. Whenever I used to open a magazine, I'd be like, I really wish this had real women in it because I end up feeling crappy about myself. On one hand, there might be some articles about being positive with yourself, and then there's, lose 10 pounds and get chisel abs in the next, right? And it's all women, and they were mostly white women, at least many, many years ago. And I really wanted to create sort of my own version of a magazine, but with a positive spin. So when I started researching it, I wasn't quite sure if it was going to be a book or a magazine. And then it ended up just flowing more nicely in a book format. And yeah, that's where we are now.
And you can always do a magazine too down the road.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely something that I would like to explore more, especially now that everything's going a little bit more digital. It's a little easier to get things out there.
Yeah. My son works for a magazine in New York and it's, what's it called? Cabinet. And they
Yes.
have a major following that's like more, academic people and they're going digital. And
Yeah.
it's like a lot of the people are kind of bummed, because I mean, like I like reading a book that's a book instead of anything digital. So,
Exactly. You really need to offer both. And I think still most people like a physical a physical copy, at least if from the book industry perspective.
Yeah, because your book's beautiful. I mean, I could not imagine having the same experience with it if it was like online.
I agree. But it is available online in case people want to download it that way.
Yeah, but it's amazing, like the way it is. So what else are you up to? Like, do you have tell me about your career and what you do for like regular.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has always been sort of my main side hustle. I'm a photographer, so I photographed all the women for the book myself.
Wow, well done.
Thank you. So that's something that I do. Right now I'm focusing on writing a children's book for the even younger age group on body positivity because it's so needed. And I just started working with an organization called Live Life Unfiltered, and we're going to tackle some things, hopefully get into a little bit of the politics behind, making positive change for women in the media and really focusing on filters and editing and really how we can improve our society a little bit more in that perspective.
Yes, I think that's so important. Have you ever seen that video where they take a plain looking girl and they put all this makeup on and then they use all these Photoshop things to, change her face? And I'm just like, I had no idea that they did that.
It's even easier now. I created a reel for Instagram the other day and I just downloaded this app that I had heard of. And literally just with a couple clicks of a button, my features were completely changed. Literally, I wasn't even smiling. And then all of a sudden it had me like smiling with big white teeth. My lips were plumped. My eyes were bigger. My hair could be any color I wanted. And I'm talking literally a couple of taps on a screen and it was done. So it's not even complicated anymore. Like on Photoshop, there's a little bit more required to getting that editing in. But yeah, and that's why it's so scary right now for young women, especially because it's so easy to put yourself out there and be edited.
I think that being that you're an athlete and then doing this young girl's book, I saw a book one day, a long time ago in a bookstore that looked like kind of a book like yours. And it was like young girls. Yeah. And have you seen that one? And it's like about sports or something.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen it as well. I can't remember the author's name.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to be the dancer, the cheerleader. Yeah. Go out and do something to empower yourself,
Absolutely. Do what feels good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So you're doing all this amazing, great stuff. That is fabulous. I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
And how can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at realhappydaughter, or you can visit my website, happydaughter.com, and all the links for everything is there.
Okay, so you're on Instagram and then your website.
Yes.
And they can get your book, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, wherever books are sold.
Everywhere, yes.
Awesome. Well, I am super impressed by your work, by your heart, by your emotion and passion about this issue. I think it's massive, having struggled with it for many years. I totally appreciate what you're doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was great speaking with you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming and for your patience as well.
Oh, no worries. Have a great day.
You too, sweetie. Well, thank you so much for listening, ladies. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please head on over to the show notes page so you can find a link to order this amazing book. It's Body Positive, a guide to loving your body. You can find the resources at highenergygirl.com/show. Thank you for listening and go out and make it a great day. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of its host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion and I could be wrong.